more from Isaiah Lee, who attacked Dave Chappelle earlier this month by jumping on stage and tackling the comedian. In an interview with the New York Post, Lee said he expected to have a good time at the Chappelle show, but grew angry and frustrated as the comedian continues to joke about the LGBTQ plus community and homelessness. I identify as bisexual, and I wanted him to know what he said was triggering. I wanted him to know that next time he should consider first running his material by people it could affect. Now, if you remember, it was previously reported that Chappelle had spoken to the attacker after the incident, and Lee told Chappelle he intended to call attention to his grandmother, who was being forced out of her neighborhood due to gentrification. This reveals more of Lee's motive for attacking Chappelle. Today, we have our comedy hype analysts, Vanessa Fraction Capone and Pierre, calling in to give their reactions. Pierre, I want to go ahead and start with you. I want to get your thoughts. What are your thoughts now that we have more information about the attacker's reason? And do you think it's going to help the causes that he was trying to bring attention to?
Not at all. Not at all. And I hope it doesn't. The line you said, we have to run our material past certain people. Who the do you think he is, man? You know, what happens if I was homeless? What happens if I was bisexual? What happens if I was whatever? I could only do the material just then for that only reason? He doesn't know my personal background. No, a comic or whoever can speak about what they want. If you are in a position where you are mentally unstable, if you hear something that's going to trigger you, then you may not need to be at a comedy show, okay? Or in fact, anywhere in public that someone speaks. So I think it's more on the onus of the person who's coming to the venue to know if they can handle material outside of whatever they believe it should be said, the comic should say. So no, that's outrageous. He's crazy. He should have broke both his arms.
The answer to your question when you say who he is, he said he's a micro celebrity. So that's just the information he's been given.
So am I.
Last time we talked about this, you kind of mentioned that you thought that he would be a part of the LGBTQ plus community because he did have his nails painted and things like that. Now that this information has came out, what are your thoughts, on his reasons, and do you think it's going to help the causes he's trying to bring attention to?
Basically, yeah, the nail polish definitely was a sign. But, the LGBT people speak out about everything. Why haven't they spoke out about this yet? Why anything that offends them, they come out full speed ahead, they protest. Here it is, you got one of them that's admitting to being one of them, and nobody's standing up or saying, apologizing or anything. So my feelings about this, man, is this cat should get everything that he deserves for having the balls to jump on stage and attack anybody, whether it was Dave Chappelle or whoever. He got what he deserved.
Vanessa, I want to get your thoughts. Now that we have more information on his reasons, what are your thoughts on it? And do you also think it's going to help, the things he wants to bring attention to?
I think that the things he said were more excuses. You're not justified in physically attacking anyone because you want to let them know that what they said offended you, not something that they even did or brought harm to someone else, but you want to physically bring harm to someone else to help them to understand why what they said was offended or affected you or what have you. I must say I agree with Pierre on the point of you might not need to be go out into society much, especially where people where you pay a ticket to hear what someone else's opinion is. You paid a ticket to hear his jokes, to hear his perspective, and it isn't as if you're like you didn't understand what type of jokes he was telling. Hell, it's been in the I mean, you knew what was going to go down. So you put yourself in that position to anger yourself, to get yourself frustrated, to wait for him to say something for you then to strike out and then make an excuse and try to justify your actions. Now, no, I don't believe he should get both arms broke or none of that kind of shit, you know what I mean, or whatever. But yeah, there are repercussions and there are punishments for your behavior, and it seems that he's quite erratic anyway, because now he's has charges about his roommate and so forth. I did want to say that, speak up for all the straight brothers that wear nail polish, Capone. Because there are quite a few, you know what I mean? I don't think that the nail polish is an indication of where you put your what you do in your bedroom. But either way, it is unfortunate that he represents, as you say, he's saying he represents the LGBTQ community, and why hasn't anybody said anything? You know, it's the same as when a Black person says, I'm representing whoopie-woo. It's like, you don't represent everybody, and for you to do that and try to put yourself under that umbrella doing some messed up stuff, I just, you know, I wouldn't be speaking on his behalf either if I was a part of the group, if you will.
Now, this past weekend, we found Chappelle, you know, back into the news because he made a joke that he was attacked with a gun that identified as a knife. Following that, both Chappelle and John Mulaney received backlash. And I want to read a couple tweets and get you guys to chime in on this as well. So one user says, hey, Mulaney, F you for inviting Dave Chappelle, who didn't even have a cohesive set aside from a couple of anti-trans jokes to open for you. Another user says, it's insane that there's a group of people just trying to exist, like just wanting to be allowed to be themselves and live their lives and not have to deal with BS. And there's another group that's like, no, I can't allow this for you. For some reason, F Dave Chappelle. Pierre, I want to start with you. Given all the things that's kind of resurfacing, you know, we've had this conversation once. Do you think that Chappelle should kind of lay off the LGBTQ plus community jokes for a while?
Oof, lay off. I don't know. I mean, he's made his point, how he feels about it. But lay off. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. If he feels that his heart, that's part of his act. You know, he wants to continue to talk about that scenario. That's up to him. I don't really care one way or the other. If he lays off, he doesn't lay off. It's funny how the LGBTQ community is so staunch and so about comedians doing that. But they didn't talk about comedians talking about crackheads and homeless people and hood rats or whatever you want to call it, hood dudes and jail guys and stuff. It was all fun and laughter. But once the joke turned on them, all of a sudden now it's the worst thing ever. And oh my God, I got to protest. You know, now they don't stay consistent to me. You know, they only care about themselves. The hit dog will holler, and that's what they do when they're hollering. So if Chappelle continues to hit him and as a comedian and does what he wants to do, jokes, that's what it is. It's a joke. Just because you don't like it, don't mean it's not a good joke. You know, it's not mean it's not a joke because you don't like it. You know, it still goes under the auspices of a joke, and he's joking about him.
Capone, I want to get your thoughts. Do you think Chappelle should lay off his LGBTQ plus community jokes?
I agree with Pierre wholeheartedly, 100%. When there's jokes about Black people and our big lips and big butts and all of this, nobody got nothing to say. And
that's true.
It's amazing to me, even as how strong the Black LGB stand stern with them more than they stand stern with just being a Black person. You know, I understand your rights and, you know, you've been picked on, whatever it is, but Black people, we've been picked on forever, and nobody has a problem when they talk about us. Nobody. And so, no, I think that he should continue to give whatever jokes he feels like, and whoever don't like it, don't come to his shows. That's it.
Vanessa, I want you to chime in on this one. What are your thoughts? What do you think about, you know, should Dave Chappelle kind of lay off on those jokes?
Personally, I think he beating a dead horse. That's personally. But professionally, I think that you should do whatever pleases you and whatever pleases your audiences. And I know that I'm with Pierre and Capone with the fact that it's our art form. It's our choice. You know what I mean? It's dealer's choice to do what they want and say what they want. You know what I mean? And it's your choice to come to the show or not. You know what I mean? So, no, I don't think he should. I think he should do whatever he chooses to do as an artist. That's what I think he should do, you know, or whatever. Yeah. And then if you don't like what someone's doing, everybody knows, just don't participate.
Let me ask you this, Vanessa. What do you think, you know, the experiences that Chappelle is kind of experiencing, you know, on this level, how do you think this will affect, you know, your future or other comedians' future as we continue to move forward and all these things are unfolding?
I'm not sure. I don't feel like it really affects me at all. I don't feel any different than I did before. I don't feel like it's a straight up attack on comedians or whatever. I do understand that sometimes behaviors get highlighted and people want to duplicate those behaviors or feel like they could, you know, can because they saw somebody else do it. But I've always tried to be thoughtful about the things that I say. I'm somebody that was bullied in school, as most people, you know what I mean? Some people go through that kind of thing or whatever. I've never really gotten pleasure about talking about people in a way that makes them uncomfortable. But, you know, again, I don't know. Again, I don't think that it affects me. I don't feel an effect at this time.
Capone, let me bring you in on that. Do you think, you know, the experiences that we're seeing Chappelle have, you know, in this light and on these big stages, do you think for comedians and for yourself that this is going to affect future performances?
Well, not me. I really feel freedom of speech. I don't just attack people tastelessly. Not saying that Dave does it. You know, just this weekend alone, a guy walked up to me, and, you know, my set is about gay people, white people, black people, everybody. And I do it in an informative way where, you know, I'm a man who grew up in a heterosexual world. And even though the world is changing, I'm able to talk about it. You know, I didn't grow up where two men could kiss and it'd be all right for us to see it. But now it is. And I want to speak about it. I want people to know my experience with this. And I'm not being degrading to them. It's just something that I'm not used to. And you're not going to force me to get used to it by not making the jokes that I make, you know. And I don't feel that it's going to hinder me at all, because I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I'm smart enough to know not to go at and attack somebody, just make it knowledgeable. That's all.
Pierre, let me ask you that same question. Do you think the things that we're seeing Chappelle experience will have an effect on, you know, whether it's you or other comedians' future performances?
It affect me. It doesn't affect me, but it will affect the audience. And I appreciate Chappelle being, you know, the biggest person in the business that's fighting this fight. Because now someone small as me can always say, hey, man, shit, this dude here, you know, he helped shine the light that it's okay to tell jokes about all kinds of people and ain't nothing going to happen to your career. Somebody had to be that way. Had I started off and did that, I'd be history. You wouldn't hear from me no more. But thank God that Chappelle decided to say he's going to stand up there and fight for it. And his career is going to keep moving, and he's going to keep doing specials and keep selling venues out. So then when I do a joke that happens to be about, you know, something that someone doesn't like, you know, you come to me and tell me, man, I don't like that. Well, brother, deal with it, live with it, keep it moving. You know, Chappelle's done it. Look at that. So I'm not looking like I'm going to get kicked out of the show business because I talked about something that someone didn't like. Like Capone said, you know, I didn't grow up in an era where, you know, it was acceptable. Homosexuality was just really acceptable as a thing. Now, had I seen it before? Sure, I've seen it before, but it wasn't. And so if I want to talk about something that I grew up around, or I didn't grow up around, I'm seeing it now more and more. I want to talk about it. I have a right to talk about it, you know, and you can't cry about me talking about it just because you're a homosexual or whatever it is. And you've seen that life all your life. That's you. I haven't seen it like that all the time. So I do want to speak about it and say, well, what's this or what's that? And if I want to make light of it or fun of it, no different than any other thing else I make fun of about this world we live in, then accept it. You know, stop being so sensitive as an audience member. Come on now. And just because someone says something about you and make fun of it, don't mean they're being malicious or vicious about it. It's just, I can't hear it. You're talking about two guys kissing. It's weird. We don't think it's weird. Okay, that's you. That's you that don't think it's weird. I think it might be strange. You know what I'm saying? And I can say that and should be able to say that. As you can say a homosexual, you might say to a guy and a girl kissing, ooh, that's nasty, that's gross. Well, you laugh, make a joke about that. I'll laugh at that. It's funny. You know, so.
Well, I appreciate you all for chiming in on this one, but you heard from us, and we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts on more information that we have about why Isaiah Lee attacked Dave Chappelle? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in the comments and break both of them arms.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.